Am I the a-hole for being upset with my son for finding a job without telling me? My son is 18. He is going to be attending community college and is living with me, my husband, and his two younger half-sisters. The other day, I found out that he found and accepted a job without telling me. I was upset with him about it, and the reason for that is that, first of all, he should have told me since we live in the same house. And also, and more importantly, now I'm left without someone to stay with the girls from 3 to 8, where my shift starts and ends. My son is usually the one to stay home with the girls, and his new job is during these hours, so one way or another we are impacted. He told me his friend found him this job and it just happened, but I don't think it did because he knew he had to give up staying with his sisters while at work. My husband travels most of the time, he's a pilot, and paid childcare is a no for me. My son said I shouldn't be surprised by him trying to work to save money to be able to pay for himself. But that is just absurd since he literally lives with us without having to pay for anything, except for his own entertainment. He said he needed a job, and he wasn't realistically going to stay and watch his sisters for days on end, especially if he doesn't get paid for it. We kept arguing and my husband got involved, and he too was upset saying that my son had no respect for us. My son basically had a like-it-or-not attitude with us, and kept refusing to discuss this with us, saying we have no right to be upset with him, and should just accept it. But I think that is being inconsiderate of my husband's and I's struggle to provide for the family as a whole. This should mean something to him, but he acted selfishly. Edited to add, okay, it seems that I did not mention the reason why the babysitter option isn't ideal. It is because my daughters don't want a babysitter. They're both dealing with some issues and are uncomfortable being with a stranger at home. Besides that, my son decided to stay with him, and we didn't ask him or anything. Okay, some of you here are implying or suggesting that I'm making my son to be the girl's babysitter, but that is in fact not true. He doesn't do much for them, just stays home with them while he studies or plays video games. He adores his sisters and only stays with them when he wants to, otherwise we wouldn't force him. Also, my husband said the girls are too young for therapy, and I agree with him on that. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. He isn't free childcare. He has his own life he needs to live, and what he is doing is bettering himself for the future. You need a better plan than forcing your kid to babysit for no money. But I feed and house him. I am genuinely curious as to what her plan was if her son ended up having classes in that time period. As a student, I speak from experience when I say classes can be at odd times. I wouldn't even consider 3 to 8 to be odd times for college classes, especially at a community college that might have a lot of first shift workers / second shift students. Classes in the 3 to 6 range would often fill up first when I was in college, because professors would teach their higher level or degree specific classes earlier, and the Gen Eds in the afternoon. Mostly because we had a large teaching college, so we'd often be doing practicums at schools around the area in the mornings, and come back to campus in the afternoons, and we needed those classes not to interfere with school hours. So instead of getting a paying job for himself, you want him to work for you for free? You're the a-hole, and this should be cross-posted to r/choosing beggars, lol. You're the a-hole. The man is 18. He needs a job and he doesn't have any children. You have children. Stop relying on your son like he is your co-parent or partner. He is not. Exactly. He needs a job. Even if he doesn't need the money, the job economy is rough. And my friend recently graduated college with 2 degrees and has been struggling finding a job with his degrees. I couldn't imagine how much harder that would be on someone who has never had a job in general. OP, you're the a-hole. I've been working since 16. Job interviewers have often said they like seeing how much experience they have with working, as hiring someone who has 0 job experience can be a risk to them. It helps him gain independence as well because he's 18. Soon he won't be living with his parents. Rentals also like seeing job history. His siblings are not his kids. No reason to watch them unpaid. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for disrespecting my husband's wishes and refusing to let my kids call him dad? I, female 35, lost my late husband years ago, and I have 2 kids with him, 5 and 7. The kids struggled a lot from this tremendous loss, but they were lucky to meet my now husband and their stepdad Adam. Adam and I got married several months ago. He without a doubt loves my kids as his own. It even gave them adorable nicknames, and they did the same to him. They have several cute nicknames for him, which is what they usually call him by. But for the past couple of weeks, I started hearing first one of the kids call him Daddy, then both of them calling him Daddy. To be frank, I felt uncomfortable with it and didn't think it was the right thing to do. I don't want the kids to be confused. It accidentally replaced their biological dad, and Adam said he understood that. In fact, he said no pressure, but the kids decided to call him Daddy and he couldn't bring himself to correct them. I asked to try to do that and set limits so this won't go out of hand. Well, yesterday it happened again right before my eyes. One of the kids called Adam Daddy, and Adam didn't correct him or say anything. I got upset and couldn't help it. I waited till the kids were in the other room and started arguing with Adam about it. He acted confused and he said he couldn't do it, then tried to convince me to let it go as long as the kids are happy. I told him he doesn't get it because I'm trying to keep their deceased father's presence and title in their life, and it's hard as it is now adding this confusion that comes with calling Adam Daddy. He said I was being irrational and that he's done nothing wrong, but I disagreed because we already had this conversation. Besides that, he was more than thrilled with the kids calling him cute nicknames, so why would he suddenly not want that now? I told him I'd handle this myself from now on out. Apparently, I pissed him off because he mumbled that I was being a bit much, then went upstairs. He's claiming that I'm disrespecting his wishes and keeping him at arm's length when it comes to his relationship with the kids, but all I ask for is time. You're the a-hole with as much compassion and sympathy as one can have while still rendering that verdict. Your kids can have more than one dad without replacing or forgetting their biological one. All you're doing by trying to police how they label their feelings about Adam is getting in the way of building a healthy relationship with a father figure who's here and who they've embraced. Please get to therapy if you continue to struggle with how to navigate this, because I really think this is more about you and your grief than what's best for them. Agreed, but I'm holding off on too much compassion. Opie needs therapy, but she also needs to hold herself accountable for keeping her kids emotionally healthy. The kids want a dad, and they see Adam as dad because he is right there doing all the dad stuff. If Opie blocks them from building this bond, they will get so confused. All the kids at school have moms and dads. Why don't they? They will ask questions, and kids can struggle with how adults process emotions. Let them have their dad. Yes, and also Opie was mad that the Adam didn't correct the kids when calling him dad. But how is he going to do that without upsetting them? They're quite young, so even if he explained in the nicest possible way, they could feel upset about the conversation. You were being irrational. This shows your preference, so you should have been handling it yourself all along. It's possible for the kids to call their stepfather daddy and also know that their bio father died. Forcing your husband to say, "Don't call me daddy," is a poor substitute for you just talking to them about their deceased father. If the children choose to call their stepfather daddy, let them. You're the a-hole. This is spot on. Opie, the kids chose to call him dad. They chose. Imagine how they will feel if he says, "I'm not your dad. Stop calling me that." They will feel awful and unloved. They think of him as their dad and it turns around and stamps on their feelings. Don't make him do that. Don't make him damage the nice relationship he has going on with those kids. Leave it be. Soft, you're the a-hole. He's not making the kids call him dad. They're doing it on their own, which is a good thing because it means they like him and feel loved by him. I understand you not wanting the kids to forget their father, but they're 5 and 7, and chances are they aren't going to have any memories of him. However, they'll have you to tell them about him. And I don't think them calling your husband dad is going to make them forget that they had a dad who loved them and did not choose to leave them. They can have 2 dads and love them both. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my daughter's friend to sleep over because her mother didn't teach her boundaries? The title is quite confusing, but I can't figure out a better way to word it, so I'm just gonna do my best to explain. My 36 female daughter 6 female has a friend 6 female, whose mother I have frequently had issues with. Mom B, 30s female, and her husband male 30s, are what's yours is mine people and have taught their daughter that mindset. My daughter has a very fragile teddy that her granny gifted her when she was christened. I've mended this teddy 100 times. but it's still falling apart because my daughter carries it literally everywhere. She's super gentle with it. It has come up with her own rules that you have to follow to hold and play with a teddy. My daughter asked to have a play date / sleepover with her friend a few months ago. After talking to her parents, I agreed. Turns out the girls fought like cats and dogs over her teddy because the friend didn't want to follow the rules and didn't understand that if she can't follow them, she can't play. The friend threw my daughter's teddy and she called to come home early. Next day, I guess they sorted it and were friends once again. My daughter does not play with a teddy at school. She just puts him in her backpack, as far as I know, because she's scared other kids will hurt Teddy, and I'm pretty sure this is the only reason they're still friends. The girls have wanted to have sleepovers multiple times since, but after talking to her friend's mother and being told that if my daughter brings her teddy into Mom B's house, then Mom B's rules go, and my daughter will have to share whether her friend isn't careful or not. I've denied it. She suggested they sleep over at my house, but I've seen how her daughter acts at school / on a playground, picking up toys that aren't hers and just running off, fighting with other kids over their toys, etc. And I just don't think she would play with said teddy properly even under my roof. Am I the a-hole for this? I've talked to other parents in her class who had the same problem and just hid a toy, but I don't think my daughter should have to go without the teddy all night for someone else's behavior. Now for the comments. The girls have wanted to have sleepover multiple times since. If your daughter is also doing the asking here, then it's time for you to have a discussion with her about the teddy. Maybe she's willing to hide him for the night to ensure his safety? Not the a-hole for being concerned about a toy that has a lot of significance to your child, but you better start thinking about alternative solutions in general. Things happen by accident to special lovies, even in your own home or at school. And surely you don't want to have that cause a real breakdown or something. I've talked to her about the teddy before, basically saying that there will be a time to leave him at home, which was when she came up with the rules. All her other friends have agreed to set rules, and I think maybe that's why she keeps asking. My husband told her we talked to friend's mom, so maybe she thinks the problem's fixed. Either way, another convo is in our future anyway. Thank you. What about sending your daughter to the sleepover without Teddy? Talk to her ahead of time about keeping Teddy at home so he's safe. Mild everyone sucks here. The other mom sucks for obvious reasons, and much more than you do. But you're also doing your kid a disservice by not showing her how to enforce her own boundaries and deal with the natural consequences. Asking her directly would make the most sense here. Does your daughter want to go on a sleepover? If she does she want to leave Teddy at home so that he doesn't get messed up? Ultimately, it was bound to happen that there would be a situation where it wasn't appropriate for her to bring Teddy, and learning how to cope with that is an important skill. In another comment, Opie mentions some of the rules around a teddy that require hand washing, and I'm just wondering if the daughter may be developing some unhealthy habits in regards to the teddy. Like, I completely understand the importance in her being a child that has an attachment, but at some point, the daughter is going to have to learn to separate from the bear, and I personally think that needs to be more of the focus here. Everyone sucks here for right now, though. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my cousin and her husband they should consider stopping their IVF treatment? My female 28 female cousin Lauren, female 35, and her husband have been struggling with having kids and are suffering from health issues. They've begun IVF treatment, which is expensive where I live. So far, they've had several rounds, but no luck. They visited on my mom's birthday yesterday. We don't see each other much now, but mom tells me about how they're doing in general. We were conversing at dinner and the IVF got brought up. Lauren said she and her husband are about to undergo another round of IVF. Everyone at a table said a prayer and wished them luck. But I told Lauren that after spending this much money, and after having already gone through several rounds in addition to other factors contributing to their infertility issues, she should really consider stopping IVF and taking a break and also saving money. Lauren and her husband looked offended. Lauren then said that they aren't struggling with money, so it's okay. I explained that they may not be struggling now but will be in the future, saying they'd spent thousands and wasted money for no benefits while they could have financially helped some struggling family with kids. Lauren got quiet, but I stated that this was just my opinion after all. Lauren's husband looked at me grudgingly and said, I think you should just mind your own business and keep your opinion to yourself. From there, the argument ensued. I told him he was being disrespectful, and he kept talking back. Shortly after, he and Lauren left. Mom started asking me why I caused a scene on her birthday. I said we were just talking, but Lauren and her husband blew this way out of proportion. Mom said that I have zero say in anyone's reproductive choice and should have kept my mouth shut. My sister, who rarely agrees with me, sided with me saying I was good, but Mom is insisting I call Lauren and apologize to her. My husband too sided with me and told me to give it a few days and Lauren will call. I see Lauren as my sister and I respect her, but we have our moments. Am I the a-hole in this situation? You're the a-hole. Their reproductive choices are none of your business. I told him he was being disrespectful and he kept talking back. Ironic that you'd call him disrespectful and claim he's the one talking back. The fact that she can't see that she was disrespectful and the argument ensued literally because she answered back when he told her, quite correctly, to mind her own business is staggering. You're the a-hole, OP. It is none of your business. Also, this is not wasting money. They are trying to have a baby, and your absolute dismissive and hurtful comments are terrible. Now, if they were loaning money everywhere to get these treatments, and only if they ask you multiple times and you kept on saying no, then you have the right to say something about this. If not, shut up. And also, I can say my opinion because it's my opinion and I'm allowed to state my opinion, however de facto true that is. It's also making you a huge a-hole. You don't need to say your opinion because it's none of your freaking business. You're the a-hole. What they do with their money and their bodies is none of your business. And they could have financially helped some struggling family with kids. Are you helping a struggling family with kids? I'm petty, so if I was in that family, every time Opie mentioned spending money, I would throw that back in her face. Oh, you took a vacation? You could have helped a struggling family. New haircut? Shoes? Clothes? That money could have been used to help a struggling family. You're the a-hole. Let me guess. You're the struggling family with kids they should have helped instead. This is absolutely a mind-your-own-business situation. I've read too many of these posts, lol. It is like a solid 80-20 that whenever someone says that someone should have helped others, they're talking about themselves. Wouldn't be surprised if the cousin cuts her off completely. They don't need that toxicity in their life. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad to get the heck out of my life and go attend his precious stepdaughter's wedding? My dad wasn't there for me growing up. He and my mom were 22 mom and 25 him when they had me. He didn't even pay child support for the first 7 years of my life. He was ordered to, but he always found a way to dodge support until eventually he stopped dodging and paid it monthly, along with the arrears he owed. When I was 4, he met his wife and became a father to her daughter, who is 16 months younger than me. When I was 16, he had a change of heart and reached out to establish a relationship with me, fighting to show me he really wanted it. I hesitantly agreed. He was trying really hard and even paid my mom a huge lump sum of the owed child support. What sort of won me over was how he handled his stepdaughter. She wanted me to live with them and wanted a brother because my dad and his wife had 3 daughters together plus his stepdaughter. They consider each other father and daughter because her biological father isn't in her life. She was really pushy with me about moving in with them, insisting my mom kept me from my dad and their family. This was not true, but she wanted to paint my mom as the bad guy. My dad told her she was wrong. He sat her down with me there and told her he had been a bad dad to me, that he made those choices, and that I didn't need to move in. He held his ground even when she pouted and acted like a baby about it. I never wanted to be her brother, and I don't like her. We have a lot of bad blood because she knows I don't want to be her brother, and feels I was wrong not to move in with them. I find her entitled, selfish, and bratty. But my dad didn't push me for it, or make it seem like I was wrong for not wanting to leave my mom, who had raised me solo my whole life up to that point. He even paid for my college and was there when I needed him. My relationship with him improved, but his stepdaughter and his daughters always came before me. That was something I always felt. Over the last year, things have been different between us. He has wanted me to be more involved in his family and get closer to his stepdaughter. He told me I've had 10 years to embrace everyone and become a full member of the family, instead of treating his stepdaughter like an enemy. I told him it wasn't going to happen. There was drama a few months ago because rumors were circulating that his stepdaughter's boyfriend cheats on her a lot. There's no proof to my knowledge, but rumors show no sign of stopping, and more keep coming out as the months pass. I got engaged last year, and a month ago, my fiancé and I set the date. My dad and his stepdaughter did a Zoom call with me about it, where she asked me to give up the date because she's now engaged and wants to get married on that date. I said no. She whined, and I ignored her. She went ahead and booked the dates anyway, then called my dad via Zoom. He called me and said she needed my dad to give her away. She insisted I had to find another date. I told her to buzz off and left the call. My dad called me and said he needs to be there for her and doesn't want to miss my wedding, so could I please move the date? To me, it was a step too far. I told him to get the heck out of my life and attend his stepdaughter's wedding then. I understood he raised the girls and they came first for him, but after all the fighting he did to have a relationship with me, putting this girl before me was too much, especially for something I booked first. Besides, he made it clear whose wedding he'd attend. My dad has tried to reach out despite what I said, and his wife sent a long email the other night saying I should have compassion and understanding for him. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Nope, and time to block her and her mother. Compassion and understanding for him? You weren't the one who put him in this situation. I think I'll block them all. Better for me. He chose her. That he is pushing you to change your date versus pushing her to change her date speaks volumes. And stepsister only chose that specific date because OP had already chosen it. Stepsister knew dad would choose her over OP, and this was just the opportunity to prove it. Not the a-hole, and I'm willing to bet that the stepsister's wedding doesn't take place, and dad will try to come to yours. Do not let him. Block him at a lot of them, and have a beautiful wedding and a long and happy marriage. Or maybe the affair will be exposed at the wedding and she'll be humiliated. I'm petty enough to hope that happens. Not the a-hole. You set your date first. She set hers on the same date to force her father into choosing her. He did. There is nothing for you to do here, except recognize how awful they all are and choose not to keep this drama in your life. I will go no contact with a lot. That's what I plan to do. I already told him to get the heck out of my life, and I meant every word of it. Have you considered assuming your mom's surname before the wedding? If you don't already have it, that is. I think it'd be a good idea. Get rid of that toxicity once and for all. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother and his family stay at my place for Christmas because they borrowed my dog's toy last year? Last Christmas, my brother, his wife, and their 2 kids stayed at my house for the holidays. It was a bit chaotic, but I was happy to host. I have a golden retriever, Max, who is the love of my life and a huge part of my family. He has a favorite stuffed toy, a beat-up duck he's had since he was a puppy. This toy is his comfort object, and he always carries it around. During their stay, my niece, 6 at a time, got very attached to Max's duck. I told her it was Max's favorite toy and even showed her how much she loved it. When they left, I realized they had taken it home with them. I texted my brother thinking it was a misunderstanding and asked for it back. He said my niece cried about leaving it, so they let her keep it. I was pretty upset and explained that it wasn't just a random toy, it was Max's favorite. He said, "It's just a dog toy, go buy another one." I told him they needed to send it back, but they refused. I even offered to buy my niece a new duck toy that looked the same, but they still said no because she was too attached to it now. Max was visibly sad for weeks afterward. He looked for his duck every day, and it broke my heart. I ended up scouring the internet to find the exact same duck, but Max never loved it as much as the original. Fast forward to this year. My brother asked if they could stay again for Christmas, and I told him no. He was shocked and asked why. I reminded him about the duck incident and how disrespectful it was. He said I was being petty and holding a grudge over a dog toy. My parents and other siblings are now calling me the Grinch and saying I'm punishing my niece for something she didn't understand at a time. To me, it's not about the toy, it's about the principle and a blatant disregard for my boundaries. If they couldn't respect something so small, why would I trust them to respect my home again? Am I the a-hole? If only your poor niece had decent parents who would help her understand. Children who are never taught right from wrong have such a hard time learning how to become decent members of society. You aren't reacting to your niece's mistake. She was just a child. You are protecting yourself and your family from adults who are devoid of compassion for others and have shown that they have no respect or regard for their own family when it inconveniences them. They have shown they can't be trusted in your home or car or allowed unsupervised access to basically anything. Because of their own choices, they have to deal with the consequences and can pay for a hotel or let someone else host them. Not the a-hole. She was 6. She was more than old enough to understand too. Not the a-hole. Why the heck would anyone want their kid to keep a goddamn toy that has been slobbered on and chewed by a dog? Freaking gross. Also, saying I'm punishing my niece for something she didn't understand at a time. If your 6-year-old doesn't understand, the toy's not yours, we can't take it home, then you have severely spoiled your child. I understood it by 4, probably. Definitely by 5 and certainly by 6. Exactly. They ruined that perfect opportunity to teach their child that 1, she can't have everything she wants, and 2, that she just can't take other people's things. Bad parents. They don't deserve treats for their bad behavior. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting so mad that my dad gave my half-sister something my mom left me? My mom died when I, 17 male, was 6. She left me a handmade box with my name on it, along with a letter tied to it for me to read when I was old enough. She also included the box and everything inside it in her will, explicitly stating that it was 100% meant to be mine and only for me, not for my dad or anyone else. My dad was supposed to keep it safe for me, so he kept it in his room. My dad has a daughter who's 8. His relationship with her mom broke down, and he has full custody of her, so we all live together. A few weeks ago, I noticed my half-sister had my mom's 3 bracelets that were inside my box. I asked her about it, and she said I wanted her to have them. I confronted my dad, and he told me it was a nice gesture, and he wanted me to let her keep them. He said I wouldn't wear them, so what's the harm? I got mad and told him those bracelets were my mom's, and I'm her only child. My dad told me that didn't matter. I said it does matter. I pointed out that his daughter is not my mom's child and isn't who I would want to have them in the future. He told me I should consider it an act of accepting my half-sister and that I don't make enough of an effort to do that. I told him this was the way to get me to accept her. We argued about it. I've been mad ever since, and I made my half-sister give the bracelets back. She resisted and cried, which pissed my dad off, but I never want her to have them. My dad told me my anger isn't fair and that I should look at the bigger picture. He said I should understand he still loves my mom and wanted my half-sister to have something from her. I told him to give her something he kept, not something my mom made clear was meant for me. I told him it couldn't be clearer, and his daughter doesn't deserve anything when she's not my mom's child. My dad told me my anger isn't right and that I should reconsider my stance. He said being so angry about it shows I don't care about him or my half-sister. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Those are yours and you have every right to decide what to do with them. Your father is being emotionally manipulative. He could legally open a lawsuit that his father stole from him and failed as the executor of the will. If your dad thought this was in any way right, he would have talked to you before giving the items away. They weren't his to give, and he lied to his daughter as well, because she thought you wanted her to have them. The comment you made about giving her something from your dad's pile of memories was spot on. Your dad betrayed your mom's memory by disregarding her will. He betrayed you by building some delusion that his dead wife would approve of him stealing from her child. You can love someone and lose respect for them, and you're rapidly losing respect for your selfish, untrustworthy excuse of a father. Your half-sister has a living mother. When she passes away, the kid can have whatever she wants from that woman. Until then, you're going to protect and treasure what your mom left you, because your dad has proven you can't trust him. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. This was something your mom left for you. Tell your dad this is something for you to pass on to your children, not a paternal half-sister. I told him that, and he said I could still give it to my half-sister, and it would be just as meaningful. I told him it wouldn't be for me. She's 8. Take it from her, hide it, and deny it. She'll forget, and it will demonstrate to your useless father that he shouldn't give things to an 8-year-old. I already got it back, but she refused at first. She's still upset about it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not saving the house so my brother can buy it? There is a lot to this situation, but I'll try to keep it brief. I, 25 female, have a mom, grandma, and great-grandpa who all lived on the same property. My mom and grandma share a house, while my great-grandpa had his own house next door. He sadly passed away about 2 years ago and the house went to my grandma. Even before my great-grandpa died, we had talked about me eventually buying the house and half the property from my grandma. We initially thought this would happen when I was around 30, but you can't really predict the death of a loved one that precisely. I had recently moved to a different city to be with my boyfriend, but he also agreed we would move back once we're ready to settle down. While my grandma was grieving and contemplating whether she wanted to sell, my mom suggested my little brother Luke, 19, and his girlfriend Emma, 20, move in temporarily. This would give them some privacy and, in turn, help maintain the house. No renovations or anything involving money. This year, my grandma decided she wants to sell the house next year because she needs money for her own renovations. Yesterday, I visited my family, and my grandma, mom, and I sat a date to discuss how to proceed, cost, responsibilities, etc. That's when my brother interrupted, saying he should be involved since he's also interested in the house. This was the first I'd heard of it, but apparently my mom already knew. She said our main concern should be keeping the house in the family and suggested Luke and I could discuss later who will live in it and buy my grandma out. I told him I intended to let Luke and Emma live there rent-free for a few years while I focus on my career before settling down. However, I made it clear I would not invest in something unless I intended to make it my own one day. Property is expensive, and my boyfriend and I want to start investing now before we have major financial responsibilities, like children. My brother argued that since he and Emma have already been living there, it's unfair to expect them to leave when I decide to move back. I told him the alternative. He pays the full amount, he's a student and doesn't have a part-time job, next year, or grandma sells it to a stranger. My brother and mom called me selfish, saying I'd get the money back if he eventually bought it for me. However, for me, it's not just about the money, it's also about the financial strain. Paying off a loan would mean tightening our budget and effectively losing money due to inflation. It's true, I'm the only one able to pay my grandma to keep the house from being sold to strangers, but I feel they're putting an unfair expectation on me and guilt-tripping me by calling me selfish. Am I in the wrong here? I'd like some outside opinions. Let me rephrase their actual demand of you to the bare truth. You have to buy this house for us to live in however long we want, with no obligation to you except a vague statement about buying it from you eventually. Because family. See how crazy that is? Absolutely not, unless you are independently wealthy and have no issues with supporting your brother indefinitely. Given his response to your saying you'll want the house eventually if you're the one buying it, essentially, how dare you ask us to move out of our house before we're ready? I suspect you'll never get him out. Let the family handle the sale process, or you'll forever be labeled as the sibling who evicted their own brother. Your brother wants you to subsidize his life. Your family's desires shouldn't be used to put you in a crippling financial position. Don't let your mom and brother manipulate you with emotions. And don't come to a verbal agreement. Being screwed over in this situation could impact you for decades. If you're in the US, your boyfriend may be unprotected unless he's part of a contract or you're married. Asking him to contribute financially could also be risky. This isn't some game, and your mom has shown she's willing to play games to get what she wants. You cannot trust them to care about your financial interests when the time comes to sort it out. We would definitely get everything in writing and approved by a lawyer. I love my family, but the I never said that game is strong. My boyfriend and I aren't married yet, but we intend to write him into the contract, as well as stipulate what happens if we split.